Hi, everyone. Welcome to Cyber Witch, your online resource for spiritual development. My name is Orly. I'm a Gnostic bishop and also a professional psychic who shares her insights and research with the online world. If that sounds good to you, please hit like and subscribe for new videos every week. Today, I'm talking about why you actually need art in any kind of serious spiritual practice and how it essentially proves your abilities in that through your creative abilities. And I'm going to give an example of an artist who explains how we can connect into our practice, as well as my experiences as a spiritual artist and sharing my art with you. So the first and most important fact is art allows the non-ordinary reality to come through into this world by the visions that artists and creators have through time. So when I talk about art, I don't just mean the visual arts, but really any kind of creative expression that falls under the umbrella of art. And we can see through history that artists and visionaries have always played a significant role in helping people see what is in other dimensions, as well as layers of reality that aren't necessarily apparent to the regular eye, but the ability of a visionary or seer would be in conjunction with a creative skill to express that into the world so people can see things beyond what they normally would be able to perceive. This is the power of the visionary. This is the ability of the creative force coming through you, channeling through you, no matter what it is that you are actually doing. So when I'm talking about art today, the first thing is realize that I'm not saying that your art has to be good, but any kind of creative inspiration is what I'm talking about, because like any skill, art does take practice over time. So if you're new to art and have never spent a lot of time or years practicing it, you probably won't be good at it. And that's okay. That's not the point of what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is literally the inspiration to do creative things, and your trajectory in doing so is allowing the forces of the unknown to inspire you and flow through you to transmit visions and messages to help humanity evolve through your creative expressions. And so this is my experience as a spiritual artist. And a huge aspect of that is sharing the non-ordinary into the world. Right now, it's really a fascinating time for being an artist and exploring the arts and trying to explain to people why art is really important. And so maybe I'll say something that's a little bit controversial right now. I personally think that even if you're just using AI to make some art, that's better than not doing any art at all. However, obviously, that is not the same level of skill as when someone who's like a painter like myself is spending months working on a painting of time and energy going into that. We can measure things by how much of our energy, thus measured in time, goes into it. And that all becomes part of the power and magic of a piece. But really doing anything that's utilizing your imagination and allowing you to be creative in a way that you just can is very, very important, because that is how the part of yourself, the part of your imagination that's connected to the spirit realm, can share the proof of your gnosis, the insights that you're having with the world around you, and also to help you visualize in a more visceral way the gnosis that you are receiving to make some sense of it in some kind of way. And so, of course, there's so many forms of art, not just visual arts, right? Like there's writing, music, so many ways, creating films. Any way that you can be creative and expressive to channel the part of yourself that's connected to the cosmic mind is how you share your revelations with the world when you have a psychic ability. And there are so many schools of thought that really do say, if you don't have this ability to be creative, if you don't have that drive within yourself, then you're probably not actually in contact with the source, because the source is creativity. So it's going to find some creative way of coming into your life. It doesn't have to be, like I said, quote unquote, good art. That's not what I'm talking about. People always get so stressed out about this because they'll see like, oh, Orly, you can do all these different kinds of art, but I don't know how to do art at all, or my art is bad, or I don't like doing art. But there should be some way, if you genuinely are connected into the spirit realm, that will make you more creative in some way. And that creative expression is essentially the seed that takes form in representing what you're tapped into in the world and helping to change it and transform it in some kind of way. Because art allows the non-ordinary to come through. And it's an expression of the creative mind in any way or form, no matter if it is good or not. And so if you really are tapped into the current of creative energy, you will become inspired. And that is the most beautiful thing about it all. So if you're still struggling on trying to figure out what kind of art would be your way of expressing what you have tapped into to the world, allow yourself to explore. You don't have to pick the first thing that you try. Try out different mediums of expression and see what actually brings joy to you, because it's through this joy of creative expression where we tap into aspects of ourself that are these hidden atavisms, primordial aspects that we can't even express through words necessarily in a regular conversation as humans, but through art in some regard, these things can be explained. And that's something that I really love, especially about visual arts, in how artists through time have been able to allude to spirit contact and other dimensions in their work to help give other people access into their abilities as visionaries. This is the beautiful and important aspect of artwork. So we need creativity to evolve and to connect directly into the forces of creation manifesting in the world. And that's why it is so important to have some kind of art in your spiritual practice to prove to yourself, if you want to just keep it to yourself, or to extend your gnosis to the world around you of tapping into things beyond ordinary reality that inspire you by the essence of the creative forces of the universe, which are mysterious and extremely inspiring. Now I'm going to talk about one of my personal favorite artists who also inspired me in my journey of spiritual artwork and occultism in general, because he was such a fascinating writer, and that is Austin Osman Spare. And I'm going to be talking about one of his pieces of writing called Automatic Drawing. Austin Osman Spare was an occultist and writer around the 1900s, and he had a lot of very strange and fascinating work where he works with tapping into other dimensions through the use of line work and not trying to control what you are doing by essentially allowing the spirits to flow through you. And he teaches these techniques in methods that he writes of called automatic drawing. And essentially, this is going into a trance-like state where you allow the other worlds to flow through you through lines that take on some kind of form. he goes on in his writing about this at how this not only allows us to tap into other dimensions, but also into understanding our own secrets and desires through those things coming out on the page when we are not even trying to create any particular shapes, but just allowing this psychic movement of line work to flow through us onto the paper. To directly quote Austin Osman Spare from this writing, he wrote, "Out of the flesh of our mothers come dreams and memories of the gods." So through these lines that are created by relinquishing control and fully giving control over to the spirit as you're moving your hand, you will be able to uncover these memories through that creative expression of illustration. And he goes on to say, an automatic scribble of twisting and interlacing lines permits the germ of an idea in the subconscious mind to express or at least suggest itself to the consciousness. From this mass of procreative shapes full of fallacy, a feasible embryo of idea may be selected and trained by the artist to full growth and power. By these means, may the profoundest depths of memory be drawn upon and the springs of instinct tapped. So here, Austin Osman Spare is alluding to the fact that our artwork is in fact a magical tool where we can use it to go extremely deep into the spiritual waters of the mind and uncover what is there through the experimentation and creative flow of our artwork. Now I'm going to show you some of my spiritual paintings. I have actually done hundreds of paintings since I started doing art professionally when I was a teenager, and most of them are in the homes of private collectors around the world. And I used to do a ton of art shows, but now I focus my work on other things because that takes a lot of energy. But some of my favorite art shows were ones like this one where I got to exhibit my painting of Hakoma, one of the horsemen of the apocalypse from Enochian magic, along with Alex Gray and H.R. Geiger with the Society for Art of Imagination. And here are some other pictures from art shows that I really enjoyed. I also used to be part of an art collective based out of California, and so this was a really big part of my exploration into surrealism and how I started exhibiting and sharing my work with the world. So I'm going to show you the paintings that I still have and talk a little bit about them. So this is the first painting that I'm going to show you. This painting is heavily inspired from when I was living in New Orleans and spending a lot of time in the cemetery. I really love Saturn and learning from and respecting the spirits of the dead and what they have to say. And I also painted this shortly after reading the book Cult of Golgotha by Craig Williams, which really inspired me into the mysteries of the skull. So that is one painting. Now here is an older painting. This one is heavily inspired by the goddess the Morrigan, and I've used a really special kind of reflective paint on her where, depending on the angle, it looks illuminated with this effervescence of a glow to it that I really, really enjoy. And I love creating paintings that are like portals to the spirits. And that was something that I was really trying to develop in the style of this work, where the paintings serve as a spiritual icon where the energy can come through, especially because of my intent while creating the image. This painting a lot of people have posters of. This is my Gothic interpretation of the Stele of Revealing, also known as the Stele of Ankhaf Nakansu. And I spent a lot of time studying the significance of what all the different aspects of the actual Egyptian funerary stele contained in order to be able to interpret them through my own style. So each image is not just from looking at this artifact and trying to copy it in a different style, but understanding the true significance of why everything was put together in that artifact and created my own edition of it. This painting was in an exhibit in Australia at a gallery that was really popular. And when it was sent back to me, it actually was accidentally sent to the wrong address. And I never thought I would ever get this painting back. But the post office had done an investigation into what actually happened and went to the house and got it back. And the person had it in their closet for several weeks. And I actually got this painting back. So that was pretty cool. I never thought I would see that one again. Here is the next painting. So this one also has that light refracting paint on it. This one shows this angelic, alien-like figure and this humanoid figure emerging from a grave. This painting is called Lay Your Head in Hallowed Ground, and it's about the messages that we get when we are tapping into the world of the spirits of the dead. Here is another painting that is inspired from the work of Aleister Crowley. So this one is an interpretation of the essence of a ritual that he has called the Mass of the Phoenix, which is a Eucharistic ritual. And there is this figure painted here in the aether with energies that I had been feeling when working with this particular mass. And this painting is called Sacramental Sign. And then along the top of the painting, I have inscribed in this holographic gold text, "This bread I eat, this oath I swear," and that is part of the prayers in the Mass of the Phoenix. Now I have some smaller paintings, which actually are the majority of the work I have done because I love creating things very small that have such a super strong, powerful energy. There's just something like really whimsical about that to me. So this first miniature is a painting of a feminine rendition and interpretation of the angel Azrael. And this painting is so important to me because I had it as part of a gallery in the OC. And when it closed, I did not get the painting back for a very long time. So I was not sure if it would actually return to me. And then once I started getting extremely haunted by the spirit of another one of my favorite artists, Layla Wendell, who ran Westgate in New Orleans, she had her whole relationship with Azrael. And so this painting returned to me right at that period of time. And so this is always one that's very special to me. Here is one of my hand paintings. This one was a spiritual offering to Belial, and I just love painting hands and drawing hands. I know a lot of people say they hate drawing and painting hands, but I love them. I just have fun figuring out how the shadows go and the expressiveness of the hand. It's always very powerful to me. And then here are two more smaller paintings. This one is called Saturnian Retrograde, and this one is very heavily inspired by my experiences of seeing into other dimensions and what I witnessed from entities in my visions. And so these are part of the regeneration of ecosystems and natural plant life through abilities that they have. And then this painting here is a painting with the seal of the spirit Stolas. This one actually glows in blacklight, which is really cool. And it includes an actual stone that was given to me from one of my friends, Michelin Linden, author of Typhonian Teratomas. And this painting depicts Stolas in his realm. And of course, Stolas is associated with plants and stones and things of that nature. So I have also infused it with those elements in the image. And then finally, I have some of the paintings that I also made sculptures along with. So I got super into making sculptures, especially after AI started, because it was something that I knew I could just like really do with my hands that was super like right there. And so first I started making sculptures for some of my older pieces of art. So this was a sculpture around a hexagram painting, and I sculpted this around it using foam clay. And so that was like one of my first experiments with making sculptures around a painting. And I also included a stone that's almost like a black scrying mirror at the bottom of this one. So that's an altarpiece one. And then here's another altarpiece one, which is the last one I want to show you, which is a print of one of my paintings. And this is a painting that I made of Ganesha. And then I sculpted this frame out of the foam clay around it, which I think turned out really fun and adds a lot of texture and dimension to the work as well. So these are most of the paintings that I have right now. If you would like more information about my art or to ask me any questions about it, you can find a contact form on the artwork page of my website in the description of this video. As well, I do book editing in really special occult literature, and I'm so excited to share with you the book that I just finished editing for the author named Sri Kapacitanath from India, and his book is called My Experiments with Rain. It is out now from the Violet Gateway. This is the hardcover, and this is the soft cover. And these books are just, first of all, absolutely beautiful. Vermilion did a fantastic job of designing the covers for this amazing author, and his work goes into his extremely deep spiritual practice and how that relates to weather magic. So if something like that is up your alley, definitely check out My Experiments with Rain, Gods Do Play Harp with Weather. I was really enjoying editing this book, and I know that you will enjoy reading it as well and hearing Sri Kapacitanath's adventures. So you can find that linked in the description of this video, as well as if you would like to reach me for any direct help in your spiritual practice, or check out all my online spiritual services like my tarot reading and my online classes. You can find all that stuff linked in the description of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my channel members and my patrons. Please hit subscribe if you're new and hit like to help the algorithm, and I'll see you next time. Bye.